Bergman Island.
Good one.
Thank you, sir. M-rated, 113 minutes in duration. The visionary filmmaker Ingmar Bergman died, and I think it's pronounced Faro, which is an island off the Baltic coast of his native Sweden, in 2007. He was 89 years of age, and I regard it as one of the finest auteurs, Ingmar Bergman. A couple, a highly respected filmmaker and an emerging talent, travel to Faro to undertake a residency there and find inspiration for their next project. And this couple sleep in the same bedroom that Bergman shot Scenes of a Marriage back in 1974. When you think about Ingmar Bergman, I suppose you think about his moody, sombre, pessimistic style of movie making. In this case, the husband, Tony, played by Tim Roth, who delivers eloquent cinematic masterclasses, has no trouble finishing his latest screenplay. But his younger partner, Chris, Vicky Krausz, is struggling with her writing. And when she turns to her husband, really doesn't proffer anything of meaning to her. In time, she relates to him the story that she's crafted thus far, which is missing an ending. It concerns a couple that met when the girl, named Amy, played as an adult by Mia Wasikowska, was only 15, and the lad, Joseph, and as Danielson Lee, was 17. They were inseparable for a while. Their lives continued to intersect thereafter, before they met up again 4 years after she had a child with another man. So both in their, 20s at least. And they were attending a mutual friend's wedding on Faro Island. No mistaking the fact that they remain drawn to one another. And again, the sparks fly. And this is really the third time around, if you like, for them. But she yearns for more than he can give. As Bergman Island reaches its climax, the two threads that I've spoken about intersect, and you're unsure what's real and what's imaginary. Fact and fiction are deliberately blurred. It's slowly paced, it's masterfully written and directed by Mia Hansen-Løve. She allows her characters space to breathe, to soak up the atmosphere and their surrounds. It is art house in style, Peter, but it's reverential, and there are Bergman references absolutely everywhere throughout Bergman Island, aren't there?
There are, but I have to say that what Mia Hansen-Løve has done, and she's such a good director of films that are somewhat challenging at times, like Things to Come and Father of My Children and so on, which are really challenging about human relationships and the human condition.
Peter, I've lost you. Hello. Folks, are we still there?
I'm still here.
Have we... Peter, you've dropped out. Are you there? No, we can't hear Peter at all. That is unfortunate. Let's go on and hope that Peter... I mean, he shows he's still on the line, but we can't hear you at all. I'm not sure whether some gremlins have entered the fray. Dave, your thoughts about Bergman Island?
Yeah, I found this an interesting film. It's one of those films where when I sat down to watch it, halfway through the film, I've decided I want to visit that island one day. I found it that fascinating. Mia Hansen-Løve, she always creates such interesting characters, and I love the characters that she's developed in this film. The only thing that I found a little bit off with this film was the fact that it almost felt at times like things were touched on but not explored properly. Like at one point, when she's going through his work, Chris finds some pretty intriguing and disturbing kind of things that Tony has been writing about and drawing, but it doesn't feel like it's ever discussed later on in the film. And I think that's a shame, because she does develop such interesting characters that you want everything explored, but sometimes it just feels like some things aren't explored to the point that they should be. But I still thoroughly enjoyed this film, and and found it a really, really interesting character study of these characters that she was looking at.
Jacqui, what do you make of what has just been raised now by Dave? Because, that really was... It was...
I agree. I kept waiting the whole film for that issue to come up again and be resolved or move on or something come of it, and nothing did. But to me, that perhaps that's a small point in the overall film. I found the first third or so of it where the couple arrive, Tony and Chris arrive on the island and sort of get to work pretty slow, not a lot happens, but we are sort of getting to know them. I thought Tim Roth was particularly outstanding as Tony. And then, of course, when it switches up a gear to go into Chris's story and let us see how that's unfolding, that's when I felt that the film really found a bit more pace and a bit more. There was more to be entertained about. I really enjoyed that section once Mia Wasikowska came into it and her story unfolded. That was terrific.
You think that's when it really... Sorry, Jacqui, you were saying that you think that's when it really found its groove, yeah?
Yes, I think so. And there was, intrigue came into it, and there was a lot more movement and a lot more emotion that came to the surface, if you like, because the story of Tony and Chris was a lot more subdued. There was a lot more undercurrent there. And this all kind of bubbled up, and I enjoyed a lot of the secondary characters, and even the extras were really quite entertaining, and they had a role. And the scenery also here was fabulous, an interesting place, and something that really brought new thoughts to me about their journey.
Well, you talked about the place itself, the windswept island with its historic houses. To me, it was like a character in and of itself, as well as a most appropriate setting. There's no question in my mind that was played up. You also talked about Tim Roth. Well, he's really laid back. He plays a character that's really comfortable in his own skin. And his younger wife, much younger wife, imbues Chris with this inquisitive nature, and she displays playfulness as well as frustration and vulnerability. And again, I like the juxtaposition between the two. I also really like Mia Wasikowska. She paints Amy as needy. Danielson Lee characterises Joseph as more aloof, with a guilty conscience. So there's a lot in this movie, and I liked what I saw. I really liked what I saw. It's a film about the human condition, with all its complexities and challenges and vicissitudes. It's an emotional roller coaster too, in which navigating a path to inner peace and satisfaction is never easy or straightforward. This Bergman Island is layered. It's challenging. To me, it's a work of rare quality and beauty, but it is most suitable for a select audience. It's not going to get a large audience, and it's not designed to get a large audience. It's designed to get a selective audience, I dare say, Dave.
Exactly, and this is my kind of film. I love a film that is well written, has great characters in it, and I agree with what Jacqui said. I think this film goes to a whole nother level when it comes to Amy's story being brought into it as well. And I thought that was handled quite well by Mia Hansen-Løve. It's almost like a film within a film. And I thought that worked so well. And again, like I said for Dog earlier, it's one of those things where a number of films have tried to do that in the past and it's failed really, really badly. But here, it works so seamlessly. It's brilliant. This is one of those movies that I can't wait to be able to sit down and watch it again, because I want to be able to watch it next time and dissect it as a screenwriter and learn from Hansen-Løve's craft here.
Good points that you are making. I'm still, Jacqui, you mentioned that there's that small point that Dave initially mentioned and you reiterated where something happens with the Tim Roth character. I was a bit more troubled than you about this, because I thought it could have been not a little thing, but rather a big thing that really wasn't explored. Peter, I'm just wondering whether you're back with us or not. No, he's not. Dave, it might be while we're continuing to talk here, could you try and sort of get Peter back on the line for us? Would that be possible?
I have been. It says that he's unavailable, so I would say that either his computer's gone down or his internet has gone down.
Yeah, exactly. And so we apologise, folks, because obviously Peter has some rather important things to say. So I can't ask what his score is going to be for this, but I can ask you, Jacqui, what you think Bergman Island is worth. Rated M, 113 minutes.
Okay, so Bergman Island, I thought, just one other point I'd like to mention is not just the second part of, quite rightly, Dave, the film within a film, but there's also it's almost like an epilogue. There's a short third act, if you like, to the whole film, where the story is actually being filmed. And you see it being filmed, and it comes back to being Chris, the writer of it. And I don't know if I'm quite expressing that correctly. It is a little bit tricky, I must admit. And I loved that sense of yet another story coming out of the end, I thought, or at least a hint, perhaps, of a different story there. Anyway, I'll just say that. And yet thoroughly entertained with Bergman Island. I gave it 7 out of 10.
Mm-hmm. Dave, I think you'll be higher than that.
Yeah, I'm giving it 8 out of 10. I really, really did enjoy this film, and I can't wait to go back and watch it again.
I also gave it an 8 out of 10. So, yeah, folks, if you're into independent cinema, this is not going to be everybody's cup of tea, but those who appreciate it will appreciate it a great deal, I dare say.